Longest Night, Longest Day by Rainbow Double Dash. Episode 1 of the Lunaverse by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 16, The Sixth Element. Trixie's special talent was magic in general, but her chosen specialty was illusion spells. Spells that created ghost sounds or false sensations, or was manipulating light and shadow to create fake images or impressions. Of the numerous tricks she had both learned and developed herself, her favorite was, by far, the light-bending glamour that allowed her to turn invisible, followed closely by its companion spell that negated the sound of her hoofsteps. It was thus so useful to not be seen or heard by any pony, and therefore become privy to things she shouldn't have been. Trixie used her invisibility glamour more often than any other spell she knew by far, and so it made sure she knew just about everything about being invisible. Turned out she was wrong. She had learned of her something significant, yet obvious in hindsight. While invisible, her eyelids were transparent. This was not particularly conducive to achieving sleep, especially during Corona's perpetual midday. Ordinarily, if it was too bright out, she would have simply pulled her hat down over her eyes. But she was beginning to understand why, if not how, the poison joke had rendered that and her cape invisible as well. Thus, no matter how exhausted she was, sleep simply was not coming. "Stupid poison joke!" Trixie proclaimed loudly. No pony could hear her anyway, so she didn't feel the need to keep quiet. She turned her attention to Carrot Top. "It's stupid you! Raindrops had wings, you idiot! This is your fault, and mine, because I followed you! Because I'm an idiot too! A bigger one! And Lyra, if you hadn't over-channeled, I wouldn't be in this situation either! And none of you should have followed me here! Corona shouldn't have escaped! Luna shouldn't have been able to click her flank! She was useless! Morons! Idiots! Fools! All of us! We're all idiots!" Trixie paused, breathing in and out deeply a few times. "Well, that was cathartic." Carrot Top let out a slight sigh. She had managed to fall asleep, somehow, possibly because she had an excellent blanket in the form of a mane and tail that finally stopped growing at around 20 feet in length, give or take a yard. Trixie had considered burying herself under the pony's hair, but several things stopped her. Firstly, the thought of sleeping wrapped in a blanket made from another pony's hair was more than a little creepy, especially one she barely knew. Secondly, Trixie was fairly certain covering her eyes in a hair blanket would be uncomfortable. But the third, and probably the overriding reason, was that doing so would require getting out from underneath Ditsie's wing. Despite the Pegasus' comment about being used to long hours, she had fallen asleep while sitting right next to Trixie. Raindrops had noticed, but hadn't done or said anything about it. Trixie had almost moved, when Ditsie had muttered a name in her sleep. Dinky-Doos. Trixie could be a terrifically cruel pony at times, but even she couldn't bring herself to wake Ditsy-Doo from whatever dream she was in with her daughter. It was good to escape from reality sometimes, even if only for a little while. "Of course, that's basically what I've done," Trixie observed. "Escaped from reality. I'm a reality experiment. Good on me. Really, it's more like I was sucked from reality by the poison joke, which is a stupid flower. Hate it. Hate, hate, hate!" Ditsy-Doo shifted a little. Her wings gripped Trixie for a moment. Trixie did her best not to flinch as she sighed, laying her head down on her hooves, her eyes looking around the plaza as she examined it out of mind-numbing boredom. Ordinarily, if forced to sit in one place at a time, she would have been practicing her illusions, amusing herself in one way or another with them. But the poison joke rendered even her magic invisible. All she could do was sit and wait for sheer exhaustion to force her to sleep. Wait and sit. Sit and wait. Sit, wait, sit, wait, sit, wait. Yeah! This is happening. Trixie thought. "Hear me now, Oh, bleak and unbearable world. Trixie sang idly, trying to keep herself amused somehow. Thou art based in the parts as can be, and a knight with his banner so bravely unfurled now hurls down his gauntlet to thee. I am Don Riaconte, hero of Equestria, the destroyer of evil, and I am an awful singer. It's not my fault the voice actor can't sing worth a note. Hey! Trixie laughs at her own interruption, looking to Lyra. Right! Gah! Stars! That's right. You can't hear me. Lyra, like Trixie, had not been able to find sleep. She was sitting in a back-reading position again, leaning against the wall with her harp, lyre, whatever, in hoof, and gently plucking a slow, sad melody. Lyra's eyes were closed. She looked like she had totally lost herself in whatever she was playing. Some tears in her eyes. It was obvious she was thinking about Bon Bon. Ugh! Trixie objected, looking at the cheerily sleeping form. Well, it was a good idea while it lasted, Charlie. The magenta pony had been doing a good job keeping all their minds on anything other than Corona. But the admittedly necessary sleep was giving Dizzy Dew and Lyra all the time they needed to focus on their losses. Trixie looked down, tapping her hooves on the plaza beneath her. Not that it made any sound. The sleds had been cleared away, too, to give them some place to sleep. Trixie's telekinesis was still unable to affect it. Trixie tried to come up with a plausible explanation, while she couldn't touch or affect sluts, but could touch affect other ponies and the elements of harmony. But the best she could conjure up was, because magic! Bored, Trixie stated. Bored. From somewhere in the Everfree, there was a roar. What was that? Carrot Top asked, even as she struggled to get out from her own hair. Not an easy task. I don't know, Raindrops whispered, as she cautiously stood, careful not to step on any pony. The roar came a second time, this time followed by a crashing sound in the far distance, like trees being shoved out of the way. A sound which was getting louder, or closer. Raindrops said, not bothering to keep her voice down, as she got up on her hind legs, affording her a better view of the direction the sound was coming from, roughly in the direction of the castle's tower. Her eyes widened when she saw whatever it was. Hide! Hide now! The other 5 ponies. Well, 4, certainly. But Raindrops assumed Trixie was smart enough to follow suit. Did so by running back into the former court. Charlie and an invisible Trixie helping Carrot Top with her mane and tail. Lyra grabbing the elements with telekinesis and dragging them as far back as they could go. Dizzy Dew instead taking to the air, looking in the same direction as Raindrops was as soon as she was a good 50 feet or so. Is that Spike? Dizzy began, when the crashing sound stopped as the sound-displaced air reached their ears. Whatever was coming had leapt into the air. Moments later came crashing down inside the courtyard, hunched over at first, but quickly rearing to a full 40-foot height, and letting out a roar that was more felt than heard. A dragon, mostly purple, with a pale underbelly, and a long series of green, wickedly sharp spines, running from the top of its head down along its spine, and across the top of a long, whip-like tail, that ensured that the dragon was at least twice as long as it was tall. It also further sported a pair of large, bat-like wings, covered in purple scales, and with a translucent green membrane between its fingers. Spike? Dizzy Dew asked. The dragon turned its gaze to her and let loose another bellow. Then charged forward at Raindrops. Giant's Pegasus reared up and lashed out with their hooves. Neither hoof connected, but the dragon did stop at assault and creep backwards, affording the giant Pegasus new respect, even as it growled in anger. How are you looking at that and thinking Spike? Raindrops demanded, as he fell back onto all fours, beating her wings a few times as he adopted a fighting stance. Wings out, the 3 hooves on the ground, her right hoof raised and ready to strike. Spike! The dragon hissed, as it too adopted a four-legged posture. Then, drawing in a deep breath, both Ditsy Dew and Raindrops started at the sibilant, deep, yet somehow familiar tone to its voice, even as the back of the dragon's throat began to glow a sickly green, like some flame escaping from between his tightly clenched teeth. "Spike hungry! Spike mad!" The dragon exhaled a gout of green fire. Raindrops leapt upwards instinctively, spreading her wings and beating them frantically, sending gusts of air downwards. Apparently cruel though the poisoned dough could be, it hadn't robbed her of her ability to fly. Unfortunately, it hadn't done much for her speed or agility either. The portion of Spike's flames caught the tip of her tail, sensing it. The dragon leapt into the air as soon as it finished exhaling, grasping Raindrops by a back leg and throwing her down to the plaza below. The Pegasus landed on her shoulder without breaking anything, getting up just as her foe landed nearby, once more glowing green. "Spike, burn, smash, and eat!" the dragon proclaimed. That didn't work quite as well as it had the first time, however. Raindrops leapt right at it, bringing her hoof down on top of its muzzle. The dragon's jaws snapped shut, making it bite off maybe 6 inches of its long tongue as it did so. Ow. And it staggered under the blow, then began coughing and belching green-tinted smoke as the fire it had been preparing was forcefully squelched. It was too preoccupied to notice Raindrops raise her hoof a second time, this time striking the dragon's back, where the two soldiers met. It collapsed to the plaza floor with a loud roar of rage, claws scrabbling in the slush and tiled stone as it scurried backwards from Raindrops. Or tried to. Raindrops followed its every step, hooves coming down as he tried to step on the beast. Was suddenly seemed considerably less eager to dine on pony flambe. Its back was quickly against the wall, however, and on reasoning this, its expression changed from concerned to terrified. "Wait!" Ditsy Dew called, as he flew to near Raindrops. "It is Spike!" Raindrops stopped her stomping advance, resuming the pose she had struck earlier. "And he was trying to eat us!" she noted, eyes never leaving the dragon, though they did narrow as he regarded. "Which, by the way, why?" The dragon didn't answer, as it remained pressed against the wall, wings held high in defense, eyes darting between Raindrops and Ditsy Dew, looking at the other hungrily, but the former with a considerable amount of fear. "He's not in his right mind," Ditsy Dew nodded. Maybe that poison duck stuff? We need to find Sakura." "Tidbit says he ate her," Raindrops said, as he noticed movement from the corner of her eye. The arrows were coming out where they had taken cover, slowly, making sure they stayed close to the wall and well out of the way of Spike and Raindrops. "How can you even tell that's Spike?" "I just can't," Dizzy explained, though not helpfully, as he lighted atop Raindrops' head and stared at Spike. "Spike, what happened?" The dragon was breathing heavily. "Hungry. Mad," it hissed, teeth still clenched. His head whipped around to Raindrops. It shouted as it lunged at Raindrops again. Once more, it received a hoof square to its jaw, sending it reeling backwards and into the courtyard's wall. The stress proved too much for the ancient structure. It crumbled under its impact, sending the dragon spiraling under collapsing stone and mortar. "You're good at that!" Lyra noted from the back wall. "Iron Hoof martial arts," Raindrops explained. "The discipline helps when I get really angry, which is sort of what's happening right now." Dizzy Dew took to the air once more, staring down the dragon as it laid in the rubble, breathing heavily and blinking rapidly, before its eyes rolled back and began to glow with the same sickly green glow its fire had possessed. The glow obscured its features, but began to shrink and compress. After several moments, it was no longer a massive, winged, hungry-looking purple worm, but instead a tiny green and purple baby dragon, groaning in pain. "Okay, what?" Shirley asked, as the ponies, sans Raindrops, picked their way over the debris. Carrot Top having a harder time than most, thanks to her hair getting caught about everything, but she seemed determined not to be left behind, and towards Spike just as the baby dragon slipped into unconsciousness. A few tentative pokes from Dizzy Dew, Got no real response from him. Can somebody please explain to me what the hell just happened? Raindrops exclaimed, almost stopping her hoof in frustration before she managed to stop herself, as it might have brought the entire palace ruins crashing down. Is this Roar for Dragons or what? I don't think, Carrot Top began. There was an explosion in the sky. A blast of heat and light distilled ponies who were standing to the ground, covering their ears with their forelegs, and sounding in fright at the sudden sound. Even Raindrops was forced to the ground. Then, wings. The sound of large wings beating steadily. And then all was black. Consciousness was a thing that had to be grabbed with teeth and telekinesis and dragged, kicking and screaming, back to Trixie. She awoke only slowly, to the too bright sight of fire and a glaring sun overhead that penetrated her invisible eyelids with impunity. Not to mention a white aura firmly wrapped around her being, that glowed of its own accord, keeping her pressed to the now dry ground and outlined for all to see. Hearing was the next thing to return. She heard the crackling of flames, yes, but over that, she heard whimpers and sobs in foals, the husky surges of other ponies. Trying to keep calm, Trixie couldn't move her head, thanks to the aura, but her eyes were her own still. Glancing around, she saw, beyond the flames that surrounded her in a wide circle, a second fiery prison, far larger than her own, holding dozens of ponies in place. Even among those sounds, Trixie had heard a voice. I did not understand this foreign mindset that grips you, Corona said, looking around with just her eyes. Trixie saw her 5 companions, each trapped in circles of flame and held in place by a white aura of their own, though at least they were still standing. Even Raindrops was held in place with no additional effort on Corona's part, while Carrot Top's mane and tail had been wrapped around her in a way that might have been funny, were they in any other situation. The tyrant's son was facing them, wings spread wide, with the obsidian statue and the 5 orbs that contained the elements of harmony behind her. Were my intentions not clear? Corona asked, as she folded her wings against her body and began to pace back and forth in front of the ponies. Was I precise? Did I not tell you the exact consequences for your actions, such as this? You do not care for your friends and loved ones. You admit to having no true plan, Corona continued. Yet, you would defy me anyway. And I tell you now, the elements would not have worked for creatures such as you. You are mere ponies. It takes alicorn magic to direct the elements, even in the inert, corrupted state that Luna had left them in. Corona looked between the 5 of them, like they were children being scolded. Raindrops was managing to meet her glare head on, while Tyranny and Carrot Top were trying desperately to look away, though all they could move were their eyes. Lyra, Ditsy Doo, meanwhile, were alternating between watching Corona and looking into the crowd of captured ponies. Trixie couldn't see Bonbon or Dinky Doo, but she knew they were there, somewhere. And thou! Corona intoned, looking to Trixie, apparently perfectly aware of Trixie being awake, and, more to the point, having no apparent difficulty seeing her. Trixie was lifted up like a doll or a figurine, her muscles straining against the aura that gripped her, and yet unable to move. Thou, who I am entrusted with the governance of that settlement, you waited not a moment before turning against thy queen. I revised my opinion, and thou yet again. Thou art not brave. Thou art not even a coward, nor an optimist. You are simply stupid. She leaned in close to Trixie. Stupidity has a price. A very dear price. Trixie blinked a few times. She began, surprised Corona was letting her speak. Surprised even more when the alicorn's head turned slightly, indicating the tyrant's son heard her. It was my idea. It was all of my idea. Don't... Silence! Corona commanded, making a sweeping gesture with one wing as her horn flared. I will believe no more of thy lies. Even if thou were telling the truth, it would matter not. Thy idea may have been, but they endorsed it. It is unfortunate indeed that I yet have allies in Equestria, or I might have been unaware of thy treachery. Allies, Trixie echoed, her eyes wide before narrowing. Sakura! Indeed! Corona asserted with a smile as he drew back, looking to the side and turning Trixie's head as he did. Sitting, no, kneeling in obeisance to the tyrant's son was the zebra, cloak still removed. Somehow, Trixie was able to take note of the fact that on her flank was a stylized sun cutie mark. She had lied about not having one, it seemed. Well, technically she doesn't have one, it's a glyph mark. Hey! No follow Equestria references! Sorry. Though that hardly came as much as a surprise. But why? That was still the question. What pony, what anything, would be insane enough to support Corona? Corona continued to glare at them all like they were children who had been caught with their hose in a cookie jar. At length, she shook her head. I have much to do. I can waste no more time on traitors, whilst Canterlot yet defies me. She turned her back on the 6 ponies, instead facing her captives. Yet behold that I am merciful. Far from here, Ponyville sits peaceful and orderly, as I commanded. 'Tis only these 6 who defy my orders, and so my wrath shall fall solely upon them. The captive pony seemed anything but grateful for Corona's mercy, but the white alicorn didn't take anything notice of it as he turned back around. First, she proclaimed, looking to the obsidian statue in the elements, I shall deal with far older traitors than you. She raised one hoof and slammed it into the ground, even as her horn glowed. The impact sent a reverberation through the ground, as strong as any earthquake, as well as a cracking sound like thunder. In front of the pony's eyes, the obsidian statue, and the stone that were the elements of harmony, shattered. There was a brief flare of magic from each, then nothing. Tracy felt another thing shattered. Hope. All of it. Everywhere, but especially inside of it. And whatever dark master that my sister used on the elements, Corona proclaimed as she used the hoof to brush them aside, rendered them corrupt and base. They were gone long ago. Only these black echoes have remained. But I do not need them. For I am Celestia. I am the sun! Corona chuckled slightly as he looked up, eyes focusing on Trixie. The blue unicorn was aware of the bright aura that had surrounded her, leaving her body, the flames around her dying down. In fact, the same happened for all of her companions. After all, what could they do? Run? What was the point? Corona didn't even seem to notice that Trixie was invisible. Beg? For what reason would Corona be convinced to spare them? Fight? Against the being that had tossed aside Luna like she was a rag doll? Trixie stared at the plaza beneath her, tears in her eyes, real tears. At first she had cried and stars knew how long. She had failed. She had failed in everything, and she managed to take these 5 ponies with her in the process. This was it. Everything was over. Luna was gone. Canterlot would fall to Corona's flames. The elements were destroyed. The tyrant sun would reign forever over all Equestria. Tracy looked to the 5 ponies she had doomed. The 3 of them, Cheerily, Carrot Top, and Raindrops, had looks on their faces that had to mirror Trixie's own, maybe even surpass hers. Ditsy Do, Lara, meanwhile, were both focused on the ponies that Corona held captive. On Dinky Do and Bon Bon, most likely seeing them where Trixie couldn't, trying to assert that the last sight they held was that of their loved ones. Corona wouldn't even give them that as he approached, spreading her wings first, fogging their view as her blank eyes looked at each of them. Her eyes settled on Cheerily. Thou shalt go first! It's you shall, you throwback! For a few moments, silence, rather than Corona, reigned over Equestria. Corona's eyes were slightly wide, and every pony, even Cheerily herself, seemed to need a moment to comprehend what the magenta pony, the schoolteacher, had just said. I beg thy minuscule problem, Corona demanded. You! Cheerily shouted, eyes wide as he stepped forward. It's you! No pony has used thou or thee or thy for hundreds of years. It's shall, no matter the subject. I don't care. Cheerily, Lyra interrupted the Earth Pony's tirade. Or tried to. It didn't work. If you had been locked up in the sun for 1,000 years, you said Luna would be able to watch Equestria, so I only assumed that you could too. How could you not know how to speak Equestrian? Corona's eyes narrowed as she came to take a surprising amount of offense from a being that she considered so far beneath her. My command of the tongue far surpasses thy own mangled... Cheerily laughed. After a moment, after realizing what Cheerily was laughing at, Raindrops and Carrot Top both joined in. Corona only stared uncomprehensively. You are hysterical. She noted the three of them. Command of the tongue, Cheerily echoed, leaning forward towards Corona. She licked her lips. Well, Lyra says I'm out of practice. Maybe you could show me some of your command. Corona's eyes fluttered rapidly at that for a moment, as realization and how Cheerily and the other two were interpreting her words hit her. And she recoiled. It's an interesting sight, seeing the tyrant shine blushing in embarrassment and utterly flabbergasted. Thou dare! Yeah, I do, Cheerily proclaimed. She set her hooves as though she prepared to take the brunt of a charge. Tears still strained in her eyes, but they were narrowed and challenging. I'm dead anyway, so why not? I'm going to die laughing, and I'm going to die making every pony else laugh at how ridiculous you are! For the second time in far too recent memory, there was an explosion. Though this one far smaller than whatever one had occurred on Corona's arrival. Centered on a number of shards that Corona had shattered the elements into. They took on a light blue glow and shot off to the ground, arcing towards and beginning to orbit around Cheerily's neck. What? The White Alicorn demanded, as he retreated several more steps into sight. What black sorcery is this? Cheerily stared at the stones orbiting her neck, seemingly unsure herself and blinking away her tears. I think, she said, then giggled slightly in amazement. I'm the element of laughter now. What? Trixie demanded. She ignored the fact that no pony could hear her. It still had to be said. Why? Lyra wiped away her own tears from her eyes as she looked at her second oldest friend. The elements made the world, the unicorn noted as she stood, cautiously approaching her friend. They're not a bunch of rocks. You can't destroy them. But why Charity? Carrot Top said. Because she said she was the element of laughter? Cheerily shook her head. Not because of that, she said. Because I made ponies laugh. I made Raindrops and Carrot Top laugh right when it mattered most, when everything looked doomed. Or earlier in the forest, Dizzy Doo said. Both her eyes focused on Cheerily. That school activity you made us do. You made us laugh to forget our troubles. It matters not, Corona proclaimed, stomping her hoof as her horn glowed. A bolt of white light lashed towards Cheerily, or tried to. Lyra saw it and left it away, closing her eyes and praying for the end, finding herself pleasantly disappointed when instead she landed evenly on her hooves, neck now orbited by another collection of shattered stones. Corona's beam of death having been harmlessly deflected away into the sky. The stars were glowing red. What? Trixie began. Lyra interrupted her, albeit without realizing she was doing so. Loyalty, she stated, as though it were both obvious in fact and a great revelation. The element of loyalty, because of the forest. Because I wouldn't let the sirens get any of you, no matter what, even if it killed me. One by one, the remaining shards of the shattered elements picked themselves off the ground, levitating and glowing, and forming a barrier around Corona and the 6 ponies, but not moving further. Corona's head was whipping around as he looked between each of them, eyes wide as he desperately tried to understand what was going on. She wasn't the only one. Trixie sought the hoof. But why? She asked, even if no pony could hear her. Why now? Lyra and Shirley looked at Raindrops, who looked down at him. I don't get it! Like I said, Lyra explained, the elements can't be destroyed. They made the world. Not even Corona can destroy them. That is not my name! Corona shouted from behind the barrier the element shards had created. She glared upwards. The sun flared brightly, and a jet of flame and plasma shot down from it toward the ponies. The shards glowed, however, and the fire splashed against a multi-hued shield without effect, hundreds of feet before reaching them. All that reached them was a wind, although it was admittedly a strong one, strong enough to blow Trixie's hat from her head. The elements aren't something physical, Shirley said, but they do need containers. Those containers were always those rocks, but I guess they don't have to be. They could be ponies, too. That's ridiculous! Trixie shouted, not caring that no pony could hear her. There's more magic in one element than in Corona and Luna combined! They kill any normal pony! Trixie blinked a few times, even as she said that, looking between Shirley and Lyra, and how they seemed very much alive and unharmed. Right? A series of shards separated from the wall they had created and began orbiting around Carrot Top, taking a purple glow, which spread throughout Carrot Top's body. Her hair changed color, back to its normal orange, and both her mane and tail began to shrink back down to their normal length. Her eyes widened at the sight. Generosity! She exclaimed. How do I know that? Because what else would you get? Lyra asked. You walked through the poison jug for me. Any pony else notice a pattern here? Shirley said with a smile, looking to the ponies. I think the elements want us as the new containers. Us! We've all earned them. Trying to get here. Trying to get to them to get rid of Corona. We want to protect the world they created. The elements aren't alive, Trixie objected. To her own ears, though, she sounded far from sure. In that case, Raindrops observed, even as the shards took an orbit around her neck, began shrinking her down to normal size, glowing yellow-orange as they did. Honesty! That's the one I want! That's the one I am! She reached around her normal size, as she offered something of a smile, as she checked her hooves, looked over her normal-sized body again. But I think I earned it before the Everfree, when we were in Carrot Top's house, when I convinced all of us to go on this. Stay honest with ourselves, what we knew we had to do, whether or not we want to. Sounds about right, Carrot Top said. Ditsy Doo blinked a few times, even as the last series of shards, green, began to twirl around her throat. Oh no, she said, shaking her head. No, not kindness. I don't deserve... Yes, you do! Shut up! Raindrops said, as he came out to her fellow Pegasus, rubbing a hoof on her head. And don't try to call me wrong. Apparently I'm a reliable source. She jerked her hoof at her shard satellites. But you stopped Raindrops from pounding in Spike's face, Carrot Top noted. You had no reason to do that. He wasn't himself, and it would have been right. And, Lyra said, let's be honest. You're the only one who's been able to constantly put up with Trixie, despite her being a gigantic jerk. Hey! Trixie objected. Hey, I had to deal with Trixie for so far almost 2 years now as my boss, but you don't see me getting an element! Hey look, an element! I got loyalty. Frack! She's not a jerk, Dissy Doo pointed out. She was just stressed, and she hasn't been a jerk at all since we came to the Everfree. See, Shirley said, smiling, and I happen to have it on good authority from a student of mine that you are the hardest working, best mother in the world. Ditsy Doo blinked, looking down at the shards. Yeah, kindness. Okay, I can get behind that, I guess. Trixie looked between the 5 ponies standing beside her, all of whom were glowing significantly, surrounded by the effervescent aura of energy. It occurred to Trixie, idly, that Corona had been lashing out at them the whole time, with fire, lightning, tremendous magical power. None of it got through, or even a thing close to getting through. The multicolored barrier that the elements had created between the 6 of them and the tyrant sun, but it doesn't matter! Trixie objected, even as Corona stopped throwing magic. glaring and breathing heavily, icily winded. Tracy looked at Corona, who stared back at her. It doesn't matter. We still don't have the sixth element. Corona paused at that, then began chuckling. Thou art correct, she intoned, then laughed aloud. She is right! I have nothing to fear from this light show! I know not what dark magics you have worked over the former elements, but you don't have them all. The element of magic isn't here! I have but to wait for this politic to run its course, and then I shall have you all at my mercy! Trixie paused. She stared. Her mouth hung open for several moments before words made a way out. The element of magic? Okay, guys. I don't think I forgot what type of song I said to play for this moment, for Trixie's moment when she has her realization. But this time, I would like to point out, I personally used Makanai, the Sailor Star opening from Sailor Moon Stars, which is awesome. Corona glared. Yes, fool! Know thee not to listen to the elements! Who are you talking to? Dizzy Doo asked, then realized, oh, Trixie! We forgot her! Her eyes swept over the courtyard. Where is she? Kindness, laughter, generosity, honesty, loyalty, and magic? She asked incredulously. Of course! Corona proclaimed, leaning toward Trixie. All of the other elements are useless without magic. It is power. Who but the powerful can afford to be caring or giving? Who but the powerful can expect sincerity or faithfulness from those they surround themselves by? Who but the powerful can waste their days in comfort and joy? Trixie felt a hoof hit her head, a little harder than its owner. Cheerily probably intended. Ah, found her, she said. The rest of the ponies, who had been reaching out blindly, stopped and cheered cheerily as he wrapped her left hoof around what must have, to them, looked like nothing. Trixie, like I said, there seems to be a pattern here. By which she means, Lyra said, coming up along Trixie's right, that we're still pretty sure we're all supposed to have an element. Maybe it's our destiny or something. Or maybe it's just a random chance, Dizzy Sue said, with a shrug as she placed herself in front of Trixie for a moment, staring into what she must have guessed Trixie's eyes were. Doesn't really matter. With that, she went and stood to Lyra's right. You know, guys, if I wasn't so worried about getting a copyright strike, I would so be playing Makanai right now, just to let you guys hear what I'm hearing. What does matter is that you pony up, Raindrop said, as he tapped Trixie on the head a few times, sitting down on Cheerilee's right side. Come on! Corona just figured out everything for you! It's the element of magic. Oh! Carrot Top said, after a moment. She also got in front of Trixie, looking her where she supposed her eyes would be, a broad grin on her features. And I just noticed something. Remember Princess Luna's stupid riddle? With that, she tried over and stood to Dizzy Doo's right, so she kept her eyes focused on the empty place that Trixie occupied. Take a look beside you. Trixie blinked a few times at that, doing so. To her left was Lyra, Dizzy Doo, and Carrot Top. To her right, Raindrops and Cheerilee. Beside her. Beside her. The sixth element is magic. Trixie reasoned aloud, closing her eyes. To her surprise, it actually worked. That was, she managed to block out her view of the world. Opening her eyes again, she saw that she had, somehow, become visible again. Maybe due to the close proximity of the other elements. In fact, yes, that was definitely it. That was a clue, she knew. The sixth element is magic, Trixie repeated, and it's right beside me. You're all right beside me. A regular genius, you, Raindrops noted, though she was grinning slightly. So what? Trixie asked, looking to her left and right, trying to puzzle things through. She lived with Luna for 10 years. She should have been better at this, puzzles. Ponies are magic. Mares are magic. The elements are magic. What? Friendship is magic? Cheerleader insisted. Stop ignoring me! Corona said, I am thy queen! I am the sun! Give me the respect I am due! Trixie ignored her. You're not my friends, she objected. You all hate me. Cheerleader laughed. Trixie, we don't hate you. So you could be a jerk. So what? So can every pony. But we wouldn't even be here without you. You made my muffin smile, Dizzy Doo pointed out. That makes you a friend in my book. You also want to poison joke for me, Lyra pointed out. You helped my farm, Carrot Top added. And, well, your heart was in the right place with the weather for hire, Raindrops admitted. So yeah. Friends? Friends! The other 4 ponies agreed. Trixie's eyes were wide. Friends, she echoed softly. Good. Now could you hurry up and figure out how to get to the element of magic already so that... There was a bright lavender flash from above Trixie, and an orb of the same color appeared in front of her head. Trixie stared into it. Somehow, it stared back, and Trixie got the distinct impression that it liked what she saw. Already did, Trixie observed, as the orbs and stones surrounding each other pony flashed and coalesced around them. In the case of the others, of Trixie's friends, they became gilt necklaces, emblazoned with arcane designs, and each holding a gem of a different color, that took the shape of their cutie marks. And in Trixie's case, an orb of light instead became a tiara that set itself upon her head, glowing with radiant energy. And Trixie saw something, maybe everything. She felt herself, her friends, being lifted off the ground by their magical force, their bodies glowing painfully bright. Corona backed away at the sight. No! The tyrant's son exclaimed. This is impossible! You are mortals! You cannot wield the power of the elements! Any pony could! Trixie said, as she felt Edric might gathering around her. But oddly, not within her. In each of her friends, yes. But she herself contained nothing. Not yet. That wasn't magic's role in this. Any pony could have become the elements. You're wrong, Corona. Power isn't magic. Friendship is magic! Corona paused at that. That, she proclaimed, is the stupidest, most insipid, worthless dross that I have ever heard! But it works, doesn't it? Elder heresies that had been gathering in the others now left them, and flowed to Trixie. She now felt her body brimming with magic. She could never gather on her own. That was the point. Now that it was gathered, however, she was the one who aimed it, and pointed a hoof at Corona. The white alicorn stood firm. Thou shalt not banish me once more to the sun. I have sealed away my treacherous sister. With her gone, and I as well, who will move the heavens? We'll think of something. Corona's eyes widened at that. No! She exclaimed, as a rainbow-hued beam shot upwards from the ponies and began arcing down toward her. She beat her wings, and taking to the air frantically, stealing away. But she couldn't outrun the prismatic force that chased her. It caught up to Corona just as he passed over the tower of the ruined palace. It fell down to his roof, the rainbow wrapping around her and assaulting her. No! The tyrant's son repeated in defiance as the light grew brighter. No, I shall not fail to thee! I am Celestia! I am the sun! Trixie wanted to remark on that, to say something witty, but she couldn't, as the last power of the elements gathered chose that moment to leave her body. She gasped at the sudden vacuum of magic within her as she and her friends were lowered to the ground, their descent mercifully gentle, at least until whatever held them up failed and they collapsed. Trixie had just enough time to hear Lyra groan, Not again, before everything once more plunged into darkness.